I've been a pretty big fan of the BloodRayne series for a long time, even though I've actually never played a BloodRayne game until this game came out. What? Why are you looking at me like that? But oh, you want to know why I'm actually a fan? Well, I mean, the games were pretty popular, and and what? What? Oh, you think? Oh, you think just because she's no? I happen to be way more of a deep individual than you are thinking. Now, are you accusing me of being shallow? Like, how shallow would that be to like a whole series just because? That's not important. What is important is that I've actually played a game in the series as of now. So you can't say that about me anymore. I think. Unless I look behind me and see my walls. Then you might be able to say that about me. But until that time, we're gonna shut up. BloodRayne Betrayal is the latest game in the BloodRayne series. A series of, from what I understand, fairly decent platform beat-em-up games. This one is taking the series in a bit of a different direction, though. Before, the games were 3D platformers and were all about kicking the crap out of people and running around. This time they made the game 2D and are taking the art style in a totally different direction. It all works really well, though. When this game was first announced, I saw a lot of people in the comments of various trailers bitching how this still wasn't going to be a true BloodRayne game. Now, I am not one to talk about what is supposed to be a true BloodRayne game, quote-unquote, because, again, haven't played the first two, but this game feels like what you'd expect a game called BloodRayne to be all about. It's a side-scrolling action beat-em-up, and it's a ton of fun. The art style is fantastically rendered, animations are smooth as silk, and there's no complaints here visually. The combat is also fantastically executed. You have various moves you can perform, and each one will get you out of a different situation. Sometimes there's more of a puzzle aspect to it, where you have to send enemies in a certain direction or make them explode in order to proceed in the level. This adds depth to the game, and I like that. The music not only manages to fit the atmosphere, but it's fucking awesome! There are a few flaws to point out, though. For one, the story is a little bit weak. Basically, there's this group of vampires that have decided to hold a meeting, and Rayne gets contracted to going in and kicking the crap out of them. That's about all there is to it. There's some more depth later in the game, but not much. It's basically an excuse for the game's existence, and you know what, for a game of this style, I don't really mind a weak plot, but more could have been flushed out here. Another problem is repeating enemies. I don't necessarily mind this all that much, but some of these enemies repeat all the time. I cannot tell you how many times I've killed these vampires with blonde hair and blue coats. Okay, make a different enemy. I'm not even asking that the enemy do anything differently, just have it look different. If you had a bunch of enemies with the same animation, say total of 5 of them, all with at least different appearances, I wouldn't be complaining about this, but I am literally fighting the same clone vampire over and over and over again. Don't get me wrong, there are a ton of different enemy types in the game, but these guys are the most common, and I'm so sick of seeing them. I actually read a professional review that complained about the game being too hard. Seriously? You're gonna complain about the game being too fucking hard? Oh, come on, that's not a reason for a game to be bad. They actually docked it points for being too unforgiving. Now, in fairness, the game is totally really fucking hard, but this doesn't make the game bad. I don't see why you would dock a game points for being challenging. I could understand if it was being unfairly hard, but there was never a time during the game where I felt I was being gypped. It all requires a lot of skill. The game is really difficult, but not unfairly so. I don't mind the fact that it's hard. I like a challenge. There's too many games nowadays that hold your fucking hand. God forbid we have a game that's a bit of a throwback to the time when games said, fuck you, you play this, and do it your fucking self. There's no hand-holding here. I can appreciate that in a game. If there's anything else to truly gripe about, the game is fairly short for being 1200 points, but it's so damn hard that it'll take you long enough to beat it that you'll feel satisfied spending it in the end, and it's a fun experience. I've seen far worse examples of games being overpriced on the Xbox Marketplace. Anyway, it's a great game, and if you have the extra points, I strongly recommend giving it a shot. This is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell.